It felt like longer than Godfather 2, but it did what it was meant to do, which has got the world talking in many, many regards. The World Cup's coming.
My God, what was that? It took over an hour just for us to name teams and start picking teams for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And the first three were the US, Canada, and Mexico, were the host countries. We had pomp and circumstance. We had comedians. We had supermodels, concerts, fake peace prizes, and more just to get to the World Cup draw. What the hell was that?
Which used to be just an email and we could have just found out about it, right? You know, it used to take 10 minutes to figure out what was going to go. And here we are. Michael, you have a surprise for us this week.
Yes. Well, the surprise is not only are you back, we are also joined by founder and CEO of the Men in Blazers Media Network, Roger Bennett. Roger moved to the United States in 1994, just before the World Cup, and he is one of the preeminent voices in soccer. So Roger's going to join us to chat all about the World Cup draw, MLS Cup final, and just all that great stuff.
I'm Asli Pelit, the Athletics women's soccer writer.
And I'm veteran sports journalist, Michael LoRé.
How are you? How is everything?
It's a bit crazy, but I'm so happy to be with you and to be locked in on you and using your time with your beautiful baby. So let's rock it.
Crazy days. I think last week was one of the most probably thrilling weeks of soccer in United States. I mean, we had an amazing NWSL championship final. It was amazing. Then we went into, MLS Cup. And right before that, we had the World Cup draw. What do you think is happening right now? Are we like peaked soccer in the United States?
By the way, when you said the past week has been crazy and then you said the NWSL final, I was in San Jose doing a live show with the players live on stage. It feels like it was months ago already, which is somewhat telling about the current reality where everything is so fast and so furious. I guess a Village People concert has that effect on people. It makes it feel like once in a lifetime.
Oh, yeah. Roger, would obviously love your thoughts on the 2-day, not just the 1-day saga that was the World Cup draw. I know you were doing events in New York and Boston over the weekend. So just what are your thoughts on all the pomp and circumstance that went into, a 2-day worth draw event here in the States?
Listen, I've just finished a book about the history of the World Cup. Called We Are the World Cup. And there were days early on when the World Cup draw, you could make the joke, it could have been an email. It used to just be an email. But this is where we are now. Sports, culture, entertainment collides. And I think the purpose of the draw is twofold. Number one, it tells the 48 teams about the journey or journeys that they are going to now hope to carve across our nation, Mexico and Canada as well, in the journey towards the World Cup. And the wonder of the draw is each one of the 48 teams believes that it could be them that's making that journey. You're allowed to dream, you're allowed to delude yourself, everything's still possible. And the other thing the World Cup draw is meant to do is tell the world this is happening in 188 more days. This will all be going down. And it did that. It made the noise. It made us notice. It felt like longer than Godfather 2, but it did what it was meant to do, which has got the world talking in many, many regards. The World Cup's coming.
That's true. One of the, I think, hot topics right now is how much does it cost to go see a game? And that's becoming less and less attainable for a regular soccer fan. What are your thoughts on this is going to be the most expensive World Cup ever? Is it going to be the most fun World Cup ever, you think? Or it's just going to be where the rich people watch soccer and fans going to be at the fan fest tents following it from the sidelines?
I've been blessed to go to many World Cups. By the way, the 1994 World Cup, which was the last one in the US, I just moved to America. And I remember there was a study that came out 3 weeks before. I think it was the Pew Foundation, maybe someone Pew Foundation-esque, who found out that 0% of Americans care about the World Cup and don't even know it's happening. Or it was so like, no one knows it's happening, and those that do don't even care about it. So there. And I remember the panic that ensued and the darkness that ensued. And I went to the first game at Soldier Field. It was Germany against Bolivia. I kind of went just so America didn't embarrass itself and have nobody turn up. I wanted to be like a third cousin at a wedding and just be filling in the kind of crowd. It was mobbed. It's still the most popular World Cup in terms of attendance to this day. And so what we have going into World Cups are always in the modern period just darkness. Like the South Africa World Cup, all we talked about going in was the crime epidemic and how every fan was going to get slaughtered. Brazil, the social unrest going in, which was very, very real. I spent a lot of time in that nation.
It was Zika also, remember? It was Zika and people were freaking out. Nothing happened.
God bless. And, the social unrest, at least for the 1 month, everybody watched the football. Russia, I think we all are living the Russian reality in the here and now. And so this is part of the cycle. But the World Cup is the World Cup. In Rio, my hotel room overlooked the Copacabana beach, a beach where Brazilians love Barry Manilow so much they named one of their most beautiful beaches after one of his most famous songs. And it was packed every night, hundreds of thousands of Argentinian and Uruguayan fans coming, no tickets, no hotel rooms. They wanted to be there.
They slept on the beach.
Yeah, the Germans will come with their saxophonist. They will march through our cities with him on their shoulders. 40,000 Dutch fans will march down the center of every city, going links and rechts before every single game they play in. Yes, that's going to happen. And it will be delirious, and America will fall in love with each and every things of wonder. The fact that Argentina are going to be in Kansas City, just possibly the most unglamorous city of all time, but also the most meat-loving city, the most barbecue-loving city of all time. That is going to be an incredible reality. We'll have a lot of panic going in, a lot of darkness. The World Cup is really about what happens off the field, outside of the stadia. It's just a joyous Star Wars cantina of humanity. And I think it's going to be utterly ecstatic. I can't wait.
You came to the United States right before the 94 World Cup. You were one of our representatives at Soldier Field there. How much have you seen soccer grow in the United States since that moment? And what does success look like for this 2026 World Cup between the US, Canada, and Mexico?
1994 was a remarkable moment. I moved here on the eve of the World Cup. I was a football mad kid who loved America obsessive, Chicago Bear obsessive, Ferris Bueller, Public Enemy, the Beastie Boys. America held me in its thrall. And the one thing missing when I moved here was football, being a Liverpool boy. Football was my whole identity. I remember shortly after the World Cup, my team, Everton, like the New York Mets of Liverpool, were in a massive game, and I couldn't find it anywhere on any channel. And I ended up having to call my dad and have him put the phone by the radio in Liverpool to follow along. So this is how far we've come and how fast. 1994, it was meant to put football over the top in this nation, but it didn't. Instead, it set a chain reaction off. It's taken this long for football to grow. Football's almost all the better off for not becoming an overnight sensation, that it has taken this long, that it has developed deep roots. The audience in the United States is complicated. It's partially Premier League, Champions League. It's partially, the Hispanic audience is enormous, passionate, joyous. The women's audience is bigger here than in any nation I've come across. Those are overlapping audiences. We built programs and platforms at Men in Blazers that face each of those audiences, but it has grown so far, so deep, so remarkably. So I look at 2026 almost as finishing the job. The FIFA video game grew a generation of young American fans who are so deeply knowledgeable about the game. Streaming allowed every network to start to make every live game available in the United States in a way it's not in England. And the internet connected the audience here and informed them in a way I couldn't when I had to hold my phone to my dad's radio. And so those three things have collided. The women's team have been an incredible driver of passion, winning things. MLS has played a role in creating a footprint in the United States. The Premier League is enormous. It's massive. That's the league of choice in the United States. The rise of NWSL has been one of the most joyous footballing stories of my lifetime. So all of these things have happened. And I look at the World Cup 2026 as the time where that football fandom will go over the top and make us a nation like every other nation, a proper football-loving nation, which we weren't in 1994. There was still, Jack Kemp going to the floor of Congress, former LA Rams quarterback, be like, we must tell the American youth that football is where you throw it and rush with it, and it's not where you kick it, because one is American capitalism and the other is European socialism. We've come a long way from then, thank God.
Definitely not socialist when you think about the valuations, right? Michael and I talk about this a lot. Just jump to MLS. I think, Michael was telling me earlier, like, what happened to MLS valuations through one of his favorite players in the world, David Beckham's arrival.
Yeah, exactly. I feel, Beckham obviously coming over as the designated player. He got the good discount on an expansion team, which he's obviously done with Inter Miami. So, Raj, would just obviously love your thoughts on the long game that Beckham, Don Garber, the Moss brothers, everybody have played, in Miami and with this league. And we just saw it come to a head this weekend with Messi and 90% of the former FC Barcelona team lifting the MLS Cup trophy with a few of those guys, Busquets and Alba, retiring on top. So would just love your thoughts on kind of the effect and the long play that Beckham has had in the league, and obviously it paying dividends with Messi here.
I mean, David Beckham will win the World Cup 2026 without even playing in it. He will be the face of so many of the brands. I think when major brands in the United States still survey the audience and think, who should our spokesperson be? David Beckham is the answer almost all of the time. And I say this not to be commercially fronted, but just that's how large his presence, his charisma, his aura. He's almost inextricably tied himself in a way that Pelit did in the 1970s in the NWSL to loom larger than the game. And what Lionel Messi has done in Miami is to almost follow his playbook. At the weekend, Lionel Messi, an amazing man, now 38 years old, fulfilled a childhood dream of winning MLS Cup with Inter Miami. And so the winners there are Inter Miami, who are trying to build, they are a known brand now globally. You go to England, kids wear their shirts because of Messi. The other winner was Messi. He can do whatever he wants in the United States. This has made him a household. He was already a very well-known sports figure. Americans on the periphery, when they're naming massive athletes, can name Ronaldo and Messi. This made him live for us, breathe with us. But the job now is for MLS to follow in his coattails. So they have incredible footprints. What Beckham has done is remarkable. What Messi has done is remarkable. The opportunity is there for MLS, but they now have to build that next phase strategy. What do we do? We've created some spotlight. What's our next action so that we actually capitalize on it as well as Lionel?
And I think the changing of the calendar and moving, syncing it with Europe was a great step that came right before this amazing playoff season and the final, because I think this is a huge talent pool. And you talk about this a lot, Roger. Like, US has sporting talent. We have so many opportunities for kids that even though it's pay to play in soccer, it's still a little bit hard to perhaps have access to if you don't have the financial means. I think we're going to change and have youth academies where we're going to look for talent around even more than what we do today. And once US shows itself as a great talent hub and starts probably transferring players to European leagues, I think that's, in my personal opinion, is going to be a new era of this league and the connection to the rest of the world.
Look, we are already doing that. We're already doing that. Like the best young American players after 2018 cycle where we failed to qualify for the World Cup, which is still mind-boggling. It was almost like the Apocalypse Now line about having too much money, too much equipment. Little by little, we went insane. Like the opportunities that we have squandered are remarkable. We are a nation that's put a man on the moon who invented the cronut. We should be able to have a good world, more than one modern era World Cup knockout win. It's almost an anathema that is our current status. I know a lot of the players. Tyler Adams has a show on our network, the most tenacious, probably most natural leader, Premier League star in the making. I mean, they are hell-bent on making noise in 2026. I think they know this World Cup will be massive, whatever the US team does. There's also a narrative where the US team damp squib and fail to make any noise at all. The World Cup will be fine irrespective, but for their futures.
I think the US success is really going to impact how we live and breathe soccer after the World Cup, right? Because if we don't make it out of the group, Alexi Lalas is so keen, oh, we're going to make it out of the group, we're going to win the group, it's an easy group. If we struggle at this World Cup, especially being here, especially having the money, the resources, the players that we have as a country, I think a lot of people are going to kind of turn a blind eye to U.S. soccer and say like, oh, well, we disappointed again. So do you feel that there's so much more pressure on the men's national team to perform at home, knowing, hey, this could make or break maybe that next kind of cycle of soccer fandom in the States?
Yeah, there's always, look, there's pressure on every single team. If you want pressure, try and be an English footballer. On the World Cup draw on Friday, the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, said FIFA is the official supplier of happiness to the world. And I thought Gianni has clearly never watched England at the World Cup. Like that is just an agony after an agony for an entire nation. The hype, the pressure, the crucible, what they're dealing with is at an 11. I mean, Argentina, at World Cups for Messi, that is pressure. What he had, constantly being there, constantly having to prove himself against the spectre of Maradona, constantly failing and then delivering. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. There's always pressure. I think the unique thing about the United States is that the pressure is just to announce themselves. The pressure is this cycle, Sisyphusian, from 1990 onwards of saying, when are we going to make the leap from also-rans to actually, belonging, to taking the field against a major opponent like Belgium in 2014? And really, honestly, when we take the field, believing that we are going to win. And that needs a psychological uptick. And these players know, this is what I'll say, these players know one strike, one delirious strike, one pullback of a left or a right boot or a head in a massive game. In a round of 16 game, making that sweet contact like they did for years on schoolyards, in training, on muddy fields across America, doing that when the world is watching, sending this team, for them, they know the women's team kick ass and take names, sending them into the quarterfinals on home turf. It's less the pressure, it's more the incredible opportunity. Every Wheatie box is waiting. Every lunch box is waiting. I guess now the modern equivalent is every individualized cryptocurrency is waiting. And it's less a pressure, it's more an unbelievable yearning and an opportunity and a dream fulfillment.
And talking about dreams, before you let you go, last question. Who do you think will win the World Cup?
I think the village people have already won the World Cup, haven't they? I mean, God, no one was talking about them ever. And now everybody's talking about them. So I think in this order, it'll be David Beckham, number one, village people, number two. I think Thierry Henry is going to have an unbelievable World Cup as the front of Fox's talent, an incredible human being who will be the face of football in America, whatever happens in the wake of it. And after that, from a footballing perspective, my heart, says the United States of America, because I like to dream and I would love to see some of those so talented human beings fulfill their dreams. I mean, Tyler Adams used to drive 5 hours round trip every day just to go to training from upstate New York into New Jersey. As a kid, his family would drive him over and over and over 5 days a week. He's one of many who've made unbelievable sacrifices and yearned and dreamt. So there's nothing I would want more in my life than that. But who do I really think is going to win? Norway. are going to be an unbelievable team.
Wow.
It's been so long since they've been at the World Cup. I think it was 1998. They are talent-soaked. They have in Erling Haaland, the big striker, who's like Shaquille O'Neal when he just broke into the league at Orlando Magic and just started to smash backboards. That's what he's capable of doing with a football. And I think their spirit, their collective spirit and the weapons they have, God bless. I love a journey. I love a dream. I love a wonder. I think we're the winners at the end of the day, to see it all, to live it all, to breathe it all.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Big love for having me on. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Roger.
Finance of Football comes to you from the Frequency Machine Podcast Network. Hit us up on social on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube for more football business and our enlightened opinions. This episode was produced by co-hosts Asli Pelit and Michael LoRé. It was edited by Ryan Hammond. Mixing and mastering by Julian Kwasniewski. Our theme music is by Hatamet Tsunami. Our show is executive produced by Stacy Book and Avi Glajansky for Frequency Machine. Find more about Finance of Football at frequencymachine.com. Follow us on YouTube at Finance of Football and listen anywhere you get podcasts. Please like and subscribe. Help us reach more people. We love you for it.